Hey, stories of the soul fame. We've got a swoon-worthy love story for you today. Let's jump in and tell us. My name is Lily Sullivan, and for as long as I could remember, my family had treated me like a shadow. I was the older daughter, but my younger sister Sarah had always been the star. She wore crowns at birthday parties, she got the hugs at Christmas, and when guests arrived at our family home in Connecticut, I was in the kitchen while she floated through the living room like a queen. For 15 years, I was their servant. But last Christmas Eve, something inside me broke. The memories came rushing back, uninvited. Every Thanksgiving since I was 17. Lily will handle the cooking while Sarah entertains. Every Christmas. Lily's between jobs again, but at least she's useful in the kitchen. Every wedding, engagement, or party. This is Sarah, our successful daughter in PR. Lily's here too. She's helping out. I wasn't their daughter. I was staff. The last family event had been the worst. Sarah's lavish engagement party at the country club. 200 guests. She wore a $3,000 gown my parents bought her. I worked in the kitchen for 14 hours, invisible. When a guest asked what I did for work, my mother had laughed and said, "Lily doesn't have Sarah's social skills, but she cooks well." But what no one knew, not Sarah, not my parents, not even my childhood friends, was that I wasn't between jobs. For 5 years, I had built stellar events, brick by brick. We had 50 employees across 3 cities, a client list that included luxury resorts and Fortune 500 companies. And tomorrow, I had a meeting that would secure a $2 million contract. Yet to my family, I was still just the maid. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. Sarah's text, "Mom says you're cooking tomorrow. Don't screw it up. Important people will be there." I almost laughed. She didn't even ask if I was coming. She ordered like I was her personal chef. For the first time, I didn't obey. I packed my suitcase, slipped my contract into my carry-on, and whispered to myself, "Not this time." But fate wasn't done with me yet. I didn't attend the Christmas Eve dinner. Instead, I boarded my flight to Florida and secured the Pinnacle Hospitality contract, the biggest deal of my career. Meanwhile, chaos erupted in Connecticut. Sarah had promised her networking group an exquisite dinner. But with no Lily in the kitchen, the turkey was burnt, the side dishes forgotten, and the guests unimpressed. Executives whispered. Laughter turned into awkward silence. Sarah's carefully built image of elegance and control began to crack. And then, enter Victor Harrington. Victor Harrington wasn't just a billionaire. He was a storm in human form. Sharp jawline, steel gray eyes, and a reputation that could silence entire boardrooms. He was the CEO of Harrington Global, a name whispered with fear in financial circles. Ruthless in business, merciless in negotiations. If Victor wanted something, he got it. No exceptions. And on that Christmas Eve, he was one of Sarah's important guests. When the food disaster unfolded, Sarah tried to blame me. "My sister Lily was supposed to handle this," she hissed to a cluster of guests. "She's unreliable." But Victor's cold eyes flickered with curiosity. "Lily?" he repeated, as if tasting the name. The very next day, I was sitting in a glossy conference room in Florida, signing the Pinnacle contract. My heart swelled with pride, but when the double doors opened, my pen froze mid-signature. Victor Harrington walked in. The room stilled. Executives straightened their ties, eyes darting nervously toward him. But Victor's gaze? It was fixed on me. "Lily Sullivan," he said slowly, like he already knew me. "We meet at last." I swallowed. "Do I know you?" He smirked, sliding his hands into his pockets. "Not yet, but I know enough." That night, over dinner at the hotel, Victor told me the truth. He had been at Sarah's Christmas Eve dinner. He had watched the chaos, heard the whispers. And when Sarah tried to humiliate me in absentia, Victor had done something no one expected. He had defended me. "She claimed you were poor, invisible, a family burden, he said, his voice low and deliberate. But I don't believe in ghosts, only power. And Lily, I see power in you. I stared at him, stunned. Why would you defend me? His gray eyes glittered. Because I don't waste my time on weak people. And you walked away from them. That takes strength. Then came the moment that would change everything. Victor leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. Lily Sullivan, be my partner. The room seemed to spin. My heart thundered in my chest. Partner? With Victor Harrington, the man CEOs feared? But even as shock rippled through me, another feeling stirred deep inside. Excitement, danger, a spark of something I couldn't quite name. Romance or ruin? I didn't know yet, but I was about to find out. The words hung in the air like smoke. Be my partner, Victor repeated, his voice smooth, almost dangerous. I forced myself to swallow. Partner? In business? His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. In power, in opportunity, in everything that matters. A shiver ran through me. Here was a man who could destroy companies with a single phone call, yet he was offering me a seat beside him. But why me? I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. You don't even know me. Victor leaned back, studying me with those unyielding gray eyes. Because I know strength when I see it. You built stellar events from nothing. You walked away from the family that tried to chain you. That makes you dangerous, Lily. Dangerous. No one had ever used that word about me before. Invisible, yes. Useful, yes. But dangerous? Never. The next morning, Victor took me to a Harrington Global Board meeting. I expected to be ignored, perhaps dismissed as his flavor of the week. Instead, he introduced me with a single sentence that silenced the entire table. This is Lily Sullivan, my partner. The word crashed like thunder. Men in $1,000 suits shifted uncomfortably. Women with diamond bracelets stiffened. No one dared to question him, not aloud. But I felt their eyes on me, curious, resentful, calculating. Victor guided me through the meeting like a chess master. He spoke of acquisitions, mergers, billion-dollar deals with the calm precision of a general planning war. And every so often his gaze would flick toward me, as if testing whether I could keep up. I did. For the first time, I wasn't invisible. Back in Connecticut, word traveled fast. Sarah called me 2 days later, her voice dripping with venom. What the hell have you done? I blinked at my phone. Good morning to you too, Sarah. Don't play dumb. You embarrassed me at my dinner, and now you've somehow tricked Victor Harrington into whatever this is. Do you even realize how dangerous he is? Dangerous. Again, that word. Funny, I said softly. He seems to think I'm dangerous too. Her sharp inhale told me I'd struck a nerve. Lily, you're in way over your head. You'll ruin everything. You'll ruin us. I stopped caring about us a long time ago. I hung up before she could reply. Over the following weeks, Victor drew me deeper into his world. He took me to glittering galas where champagne flowed like rivers, to private clubs where billionaires whispered deals over cigars, to rooftop dinners under the New York skyline where he would lean close and murmur, "Watch, listen, learn." And I did. Every glance he gave me in public was calculated, sometimes protective, sometimes commanding, always intense. And in those stolen moments when the crowd melted away, I saw something else flicker in his eyes, something that made my pulse race. Romance wasn't supposed to be part of this, but it was there, undeniable, sparking between us like fire on dry leaves. One evening, after a particularly brutal meeting where Victor had shredded a rival CEO with words sharper than knives, we stood alone in the elevator. You enjoyed that, didn't you? I teased. His eyes locked onto mine. I enjoyed watching you enjoy it. The air between us grew taut, charged. His hand brushed mine, just barely, but it was enough to send a shiver straight through me. Danger, desire, both wrapped into one. It happened at a gala in Midtown Manhattan. The chandeliers sparkled, the orchestra played, and the room buzzed with whispers about Victor Harrington's newest mystery partner. Sarah was there. Of course she was. Dressed in crimson silk, clinging to the arm of her fiancé, she glided toward me with a smile too sharp to be friendly. "Lily," she purred, "what a surprise." "Sarah." My voice was calm, steady. "Enjoying the evening?" "Oh, immensely. Though I must admit I didn't expect to see you here, especially not with Victor." Her eyes slid toward him. He was across the room, speaking to a senator, but his presence loomed like a storm cloud. Sarah leaned closer, her voice dropping. "Be careful, Lily. You think you've won, but you're just a pawn. Victor Harrington doesn't have partners. He has prey." I refused to flinch. "If I'm prey, Sarah, then I'm not the one who should be worried." Her smile faltered. But later that night, as Victor and I left the gala, I couldn't shake her words. "Sarah warned me tonight," I admitted as we stepped into his sleek black car. "She said you don't have partners, only prey." Victor's jaw tightened. For a moment, silence stretched between us. Then he turned, his eyes burning with something unreadable. "Do you believe her?" I swallowed. "I don't know what to believe." The car hummed with tension. Then, suddenly, Victor leaned closer, his voice low and raw. "Believe this, Lily. I don't waste my time with people I don't respect. I could have destroyed your sister and your parents in an instant, but I didn't. Do you know why?" I shook my head. "Because you deserve to be the one to rise above them. You earned it." The words hit me harder than I expected. My chest tightened, and before I could stop myself, I whispered, "And what about us? What are we?" His hand brushed mine, deliberate this time. Something neither of us planned for. And then, his lips found mine. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't tentative. It was fire. A kiss that spoke of danger and dominance, of promises and threats intertwined. My hands trembled, but I didn't pull away. For the first time in my life, I felt seen, desired, equal. When we finally broke apart, his forehead rested against mine. "You're playing a dangerous game, Lily Sullivan." "So are you," I whispered. And just like that, I knew there was no turning back. The days after that kiss blurred into a storm of boardrooms, whispers, and sleepless nights. Victor didn't mention it again, but the tension between us changed, charged, alive. Every look across a meeting table lingered. Every accidental touch felt deliberate. Yet nothing was simple. With Victor, desire came tangled with danger. I knew it the moment he introduced me as co-chair for Harrington Global's Winter Charity Gala. "This isn't just dinner and music," he said, his voice cool, commanding. "Every senator, every Fortune 500 CEO, every rival worth their salt will be there. They'll be watching you." "Me?" I asked. He turned, his eyes sharp. "Us." Something inside me both thrilled and trembled. This was no longer just about survival. It was about stepping into a world where every move was a gamble. On the night of the gala, I wore a dress Victor had sent, deep sapphire silk that flowed like water. The necklace at my throat glittered with diamonds I hadn't dared to ask the price of. When we walked into the ballroom together, the crowd parted like the Red Sea. Gasps, whispers, darting glances. I felt their judgment, their curiosity, their envy. At the edge of the room, I spotted her, Sarah. She was speaking animatedly to a man I didn't recognize, her hand brushing his sleeve as though sealing a secret. Victor followed my gaze. His mouth tightened. "Stay close to me tonight." I frowned. Why? Because the knives are always sharpest when smiles are brightest. It didn't take long. Halfway through the evening, Sarah cornered me near the balcony. "Lily," she said sweetly, though her eyes burned, "you look expensive." Does Victor buy all his women jewels or just the ones who play partner for the season? I refused to rise to her bait. Careful, Sarah. Envy doesn't look good on you. Her smile widened, brittle and cruel. You think you've won? You have no idea what you've stepped into. Victor Harrington destroys everyone close to him, and when he's finished with you, you'll have less than nothing. Her words echoed long after she swept away. When Victor found me later, he studied my face for a moment. What did she say to you? Nothing I couldn't handle. His gaze lingered. Good. Because Sarah isn't your enemy. My breath caught. Then who is? I learned the answer that night. Near the end of the gala, as Victor gave a speech, I felt a chill crawl across my skin. A pair of eyes watching me too intently. I turned. A man stood at the far end of the ballroom, tall, sharp-featured, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. When our gazes met, he raised his glass in a mock salute. Victor followed my line of sight and froze. His hand tightened on the microphone. When the speech ended, he leaned close. Stay away from that man. Who is he? Victor's jaw clenched. Nicholas Drake, my oldest rival. The name rippled through me. I'd heard it whispered, stories of corporate takeovers that ended in ruined families, fortunes swallowed whole. But why had he been staring at me like that? That night, back at Victor's penthouse, I couldn't shake the unease. Why was he looking at me? I asked, finally. Victor poured himself a drink, his movements sharp. Because he sees what I see, potential, power, and leverage. Leverage? He turned, his expression darker than I'd ever seen. If Nicholas Drake can't destroy me directly, he'll come after what I value most. My chest tightened. You mean me? Victor's silence was answer enough. The room crackled with unspoken truths. Then maybe you shouldn't... Before I could finish, he was in front of me, gripping my chin gently but firmly. Don't you dare suggest walking away, Lily Sullivan. You fought too hard to rise, and I fought too hard to have you by my side. The intensity in his voice left me breathless, and then he kissed me again. This time slower, deeper, like a vow and a warning all at once. 2 days later, my parents called. Lily, my mother's voice was unusually soft, rehearsed. We'd like to invite you to dinner. Just family. We want to talk. A trap, surely, but curiosity won. The dinner was in the same Connecticut house where I'd once been treated like a servant. Crystal glasses gleamed, silverware sparkled. Sarah smirked across the table. My father cleared his throat. We're worried about you, Lily. This association with Victor Harrington, it's dangerous. I raised an eyebrow. Since when do you worry about me? Since your choices started affecting us, Sarah snapped. There it was, the truth. You're afraid of what people will say, I said. Afraid they'll realize the daughter you mocked for being poor now sits beside the man you fear most. Their silence was confirmation enough. I stood. Enjoy your dinner, but understand this. Victor didn't give me power. I built it myself. He only saw what you never could. I walked out. Their stunned faces burned into my memory. Later that night, as I sat on Victor's balcony, phone in hand, a message appeared. Unknown number. He'll destroy you, Lily, just like he destroyed me. Meet me tomorrow, alone. Attached was a photo. Nicholas Drake. The city lights blurred below me as I stared at the screen, torn between fear and curiosity. If I went, I might uncover the truth. If I didn't, I'd always wonder. The cafe was nearly empty when I arrived the next morning. Sunlight spilled across marble floors, but the air felt cold, tense. Nicholas Drake sat near the window, immaculately dressed, every inch the predator in a tailored suit. Lily Sullivan, he said, rising smoothly, even more radiant up close. I didn't sit. Why did you text me? His smile was sharp. Because I know what Victor hasn't told you, and if you stay with him, you'll be collateral damage. I narrowed my eyes. Go on. He gestured to the seat opposite. Against my better judgment, I sat. Victor Harrington, Nicholas began, swirling his espresso, built his empire on loyalty, ruthless loyalty, and when someone betrays him, he makes sure they disappear. But here's the truth, Lily. Sometimes he destroys people not because they betrayed him, but because they threatened his control. That's a lie, I shot back. Nicholas leaned forward. Then why hasn't he told you about me? About what he did to my family? My throat tightened. I wanted to walk away. But his eyes held me there, burning with the conviction of a man who believed every poisonous word. You're smart, Nicholas said softly. Too smart to become Victor's next casualty. Walk away, Lily, before he decides you've outlived your usefulness. That night, Victor sensed my distance immediately. You met him, he said flatly. I froze. How do you... Because Nicholas only plays one game. He plants seeds of doubt. Did he tell you I ruin everyone close to me, that I can't be trusted? I swallowed. Silence was answer enough. Victor's face hardened. And you believed him? I don't know what to believe, I burst out. You keep secrets, Victor. You keep everyone at arm's length. How do I know I'm not just another piece on your chessboard? For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, quietly, because I've never led anyone this close before. Not even Nicholas once upon a time. My heart lurched. You and him. We were partners. Years ago. He betrayed me. Tried to gut my company from the inside. I ruined him, yes, because he would have ruined me first. The pain in his voice was real, raw, and in that moment, I realized the truth. Both men were dangerous, but only one had given me a choice. 2 days later, the betrayal came. Not from Nicholas, not from Victor, but from within. Late at night, I was working in Victor S.'s study when I found them. Copies of stellar events, contracts. My company's private deals, our client lists. Documents no one should have had access to. My stomach dropped. Someone inside my own business had leaked them. Lily? I spun. Victor stood in the doorway, his gaze flicking to the papers in my hands. Where did you get these? I demanded. His expression was unreadable. I was going to tell you. My chest burned. So it's true. You were spying on me. I was protecting you, he snapped. Nicholas has been targeting your company for weeks. If he destroys stellar events, he destroys you. And I won't let that happen. His voice shook with anger, but beneath it I heard something else. Fear. Why didn't you just tell me? I whispered. Because I don't know who I can trust anymore, he admitted. But I want to trust you, Lily. God help me, I do. It all came to a head at the Harrington Global Board meeting. Nicholas had somehow secured a seat at the table, and the atmosphere was electric with rivalry. Victor Harrington has grown weak, Nicholas declared smoothly. He hides behind partnerships, behind distractions. His gaze slid to me. Pretty distractions. Victor rose slowly, his power filling the room. Say what you came to say, Nicholas. Nicholas smiled. Step down. Or I'll expose everything, every deal, every secret, including your little partner's fragile empire. The board murmured, hungry for blood. Victor's eyes burned into mine. You don't have to stay for this. But I did. I stood, my voice steady. If you want to come after someone, Nicholas, come after me. I built stellar events from nothing, and I'll build it again if I have to. But I won't let you use me to destroy him. Gasps echoed. Nicholas's smile faltered. You're a fool. Maybe, I said, but I'm not your pawn. Victor's hand closed around mine, firm, certain. In that moment, the tide shifted. The board saw not a billionaire under siege, but a partnership unshakable. Nicholas Drake walked out of that room defeated. The battle didn't end that day. Rivals never truly vanish. But Nicholas had lost his foothold, and with him gone, the storm began to settle. That night, on Victor's balcony overlooking the city, I finally asked the question that had haunted me. Why me, Victor? Out of everyone you could have chosen, why me? He studied me for a long time, his face softer than I'd ever seen. Because you've lived through fire and come out stronger. Because you don't flinch when people try to break you. Because the first time I saw you, I saw the partner I've been waiting for all my life. The city glittered below us, but all I saw was him. I'm not perfect, I whispered. Neither am I, he said. But together, his hand cupped my cheek. We're unstoppable. When his lips met mine, it wasn't just desire, it was a promise. Months later, at another Christmas Eve dinner in Connecticut, the dynamic had flipped entirely. My parents hovered nervously, Sarah sulked at the far end of the table, and Victor sat proudly beside me. When the door opened and Victoria Chen, CEO of Pinnacle Hospitality, entered to announce Stellar Events partnership expansion, my mother nearly dropped her wine glass. Lily, she stammered, we didn't realize— No, I said calmly, smiling. You never did. Victor squeezed my hand under the table. I wasn't their servant anymore. I wasn't invisible. I was Lily Sullivan, businesswoman, survivor, partner to the billionaire everyone feared. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of being mocked, or underestimated, or left behind, because I'd found something worth more than approval. I'd found love, power, and freedom, all on my own terms.